Yeah, good. You can follow the notes or the previous classroom videos or update will be sent to you. You can go through them one more time. You can repeat any number of times and see it. Okay. You go through that videos. So sent to you to your email. Our admin will send the videos. You can go through them. Right. And if you have any doubts, we can discuss them towards the end of the session. Up to installing, everything is fine, right? So you have learned, you have installed everything, and the environment is ready. Now today we are going to see how to create a web application website. Yesterday I told you what is a website professionally. Website is a virtual directory. I showed you that practical approach. So website is a virtual directory. It comprises of resources. Website is a virtual directory which comprises of resources. So technically it is good to say that website is a virtual directory, and it comprises of resources. Now the point is, what is a web application? What is a web application? This is another question actually. What is web application? So generally you need to understand what is web application. Actually, web application and website difference is usually web application comprises of end-to-end integration. It comprises of end-to-end integration. It is both. It is combination of both front end and back end. This combination of both front end and back end. That means web application is more than website. So website is about, so it is all about front end. It is all about front end designing. Application is more than website. So a web application comprises of both front end and back end. That means, so client side and the server side, everything is configured inside it. So usually we have two different options. So website and web application. So technically website and web application. So website is only about front end. So web application is both front end and back end. So if you know how to build a web application, it's easy to build a website also. That's not a complex thing. So in our full stack development, what we are going to learn then, what we are going to discuss, what do you think? Now you got an idea, like that means we are going to build. So we are going to build web application or website. What do you say? We are going to build web application or website. We can build both of them, right? So we can build both. So we can build a website, we can build a web application. So web application is having more scope. Web application is having more scope. That means it have combination of both front end and back end. So our main intention as a full stack developer is to build more than a website. So that is why we should know the difference between website and web application. So, but first we will start learning the front end, then we can go into the back end. Now today we will see how to create a web application, how to configure the web application. Let's see. So that means the first step we are going to discuss practically is creating a new web application. Here you will learn both front end and back end, designing everything we will build here. How to create a new web application. Let's see the process, how to create a web application and work with it. So to create a web application, so first step, what you have to do is go to your computer locations, your PC, C drive, D drive, E drive, anywhere in your PC, you create a folder for your projects. So a separate folder for your application. So I will just create here a new folder. I'm creating a new folder. So select a new folder. In my C drive, I'm creating. So this folder name I will give as web application, or any name we can give, Suppose I am giving like shopping application. That's the name we are defining, shopping application. So this is a shopping application. That's a folder, just an empty folder. So that means first you have to go to open your PC location, open your PC locations. So you can open in Windows Explorer or my PC, right? And create a new folder for your application. I created C:, so I defined shopping application. I created an application shopping. So you can create anywhere. You can create the application anywhere, in any location, C drive, D drive, E drive. So anywhere, so you can create a folder. So I created a simple shopping application folder. Okay. Now, after creating this folder, open Visual Studio Code. You open the Visual Studio Code editor. Already we have installed this Visual Studio Code editor in the last session. You open this Visual Studio Code editor. This is the Visual Studio Code editor. Now in this Visual Studio Code editor, what you have to do is initially it opens the home screen like this. This is the Visual Studio Code editor. In this editor, yesterday I asked you to install some plugins. So that is one is Live Server plugin and VS Code Icons plugin. Have you got those plugins also? Have you installed those plugins also? You got those extensions? Have you installed those extensions? Right, good. Right. So now what you have to do is you need to open your project folder in this Visual Studio Code. So go to File menu, open folder, and our project folder is in C drive, and that is shopping application. That is the folder I selected. Now you see currently your folder is empty. That means it doesn't contain any file. It's empty, currently empty. Of course, it is empty. We haven't created any files there. So you open Visual Studio Code, then you have to go to File menu and open folder. Then select your shopping application folder and open. After opening this folder, now important is this is not yet a web application professionally. This is not a web application professionally. We need to configure it as a professional web application. How to configure as a professional web application? For that, what you have to do is go to terminal menu. There is a terminal menu. In that, select new terminal. You select new terminal. You will see that a command prompt will open like this. And very careful here, two important things are there. Observe carefully, because many people come with a complaint here every time. I will show you. Actually, you can observe right side. So in the terminal, right side, there is a command option available. There is a command option available. Generally, what happens is you click on that drop down, you will see PowerShell, command prompt, git bash, so many will be there. Sometimes by default, it will have a PowerShell. Sometimes it will have PowerShell. So that PowerShell requires some additional installation to work correctly. So in your computers, you don't have that. So if it already have with Windows, that's okay. Windows will give a PowerShell related library, which by default works if you have a genuine complete Windows. Otherwise, what you do is select here command prompt. Don't use PowerShell. If it is PowerShell, you will see it will be like this PS. PowerShell will be like PS. You can see that the PowerShell is showing like this. That means PowerShell will display like this PS. So what you have to make sure that, so this PS will be there. PS will be there. So make sure that it's not PowerShell. So again, what you have to do is go there and select command prompt. This is good. So make sure that it is command prompt, not the PowerShell, not the PowerShell. So use the command prompt for terminal. So that means now go to terminal. Next step, you have to go to terminal menu, and select new terminal, or you can use shortcut control plus backtick. So that is actually backtick. You can use control plus backtick. Actually, backtick is present. Backtick is present on the keyboard. So generally in your keyboard, so in the keyboard, you have keys. You have the number one key. Number one key will be there. And in that number one key, you will have this exclamation symbol. Beside that number one key, you will see, so a backtick and tilde symbol will be there. Here you will find a backtick. Tilde symbol and backtick will be here beside number one key. You have to use this backtick. So that is backtick. Don't confuse with single quote or backticks. So actually we have double quotes, we have single quote, and we have backtick. You can press that control backtick as shortcut. That means you open your Visual Studio Code and you type control, you press control backtick, terminal will come. That is shortcut actually. Now you have to open the terminal. After opening the terminal, inside this terminal, at the command prompt, you have to run the following command. So run the following command. What command you have to run is, here we have to put here / shopping application. You see already prompt is there. At that prompt you have to type npm init. You have to run the command npm init. You have to run this command. Type this command and press enter. So it will execute the command. npm is node package manager. Yesterday I told you node package manager. So we need a package manager for maintaining our project, creating the projects, configuring the projects, maintaining the projects. We need a package manager. And npm is a package manager. So this package manager will start init. Actually npm, so remember, npm init is a command used to configure a web application. It is a command used to configure a web application. So that means it is initialization of project. That means it is initializing the project. It is a command used to configure the web application, initialization of project. I will show you that here. So generally, what we have to do is, you see, you just go to the terminal and run the command npm init. When I type this command npm init and hit enter, it will give you some sequence of questions. You have to answer those questions. So you have to walk through several points. Observe carefully. When I hit enter, it will start asking you some questions. So the question you observe here, we have to walk through these questions step by step. First question it is asking. So technically, the first question it is asking, what should be the project name, package name? That means by which name you want this project. So already folder name is there. What should be the package name for that? That means under that package, all the files are maintained. What should be the package name? And see in the brackets, by default, it is showing some name. You can type some name here. Suppose, so you can give some name, shopping application, some name you can give, shopping application. You can give some name, shopping application. Here you can give the shopping application, or you can simply use any another name, or you can leave it empty also. When you leave it empty, technically when you leave it empty, so it will take the default this name inside this parenthesis. So you can just define any name for your application. So I configured the name, the package name, shopping application, and hit enter. Then it comes to the next question. So it is saying that some warning saying that don't use capital letters. Okay, fine. So let's give shopping app, some name I given, enter. Next question, which version it is? It is asking the version number. It is asking the version number. That means when you are developing a project, for every project, you need to configure the version number. How to give version numbers? So we will learn in the later stages. So how to configure the versions, how to define the versions, we will understand. As of now, this is our first version of the project and it is giving 1.0, just 0.0. That's leave it like that and hit enter. The next question, it is asking description about your project. Description about your project. So some description, that means, so we are building or simply like, so end-to-end application, end-to-end application. So that is the end-to-end web application. So that is the description I given. So you can give any small description about it and hit enter. Next step, it is asking entry point. That means, do you want to configure any starting point for this application? Still, we haven't learned what is a starting point, how to keep the starting points and all. So we will ignore this. So later we will learn what is the starting point, how to start with the application. In that case, we need that later. Later we can add it manually. Remember, these are all details you can customize. You can change later also. So I will skip the entry point, hit enter. Okay. It is asking, do you have any testing commands? That means used for testing the application. We don't have any testing related things. Testing also we will see in the later stage. So ignore this also, enter. Next, it is asking, do you want to collaborate with any cloud like Git cloud? So I don't want currently because we don't know anything about Git collaborations. So we will leave this also empty. Remember, these all you will see later, how to handle them. In the beginning day, we don't need all this. We just need package name. So and version, description, only these things and enter. Now it is asking keywords. Keywords means, so how you can search for this project. So that means what are the keywords used for searching this project. So for that we are giving some name like web application and full stack application, full stack. So generally website, some terms I'm giving like this. These are the keywords for our application. Okay. Now, and it is a shopping application. I will give as some shopping as keyword also. Next, enter. Next step, it is asking author. Who is the author? Author, some Naresh Technologies. Some author, any author name you can give and enter. Next, license. So generally, people have different licenses. Like MIT is a license, like different license will be there. Currently, we will just skip that license also because these all you are going to understand in later stages. How the license are given, how the versions are configured, how the testing is done, how the collaboration with cloud is done, all these things you will understand. So you can leave anything you don't know, just leave empty. Currently in this, what we have mentioned, only the package name and description and some keywords and author. And after mentioning all these details, now hit enter. Now you can see that. So it's one more time asking the confirmation. It says that whatever you mentioned, is this okay? Is this okay? Whatever you mentioned, is this okay? You have to just type yes, YES, and hit enter. So then it's done. Automatically, you will see that in your project, a new file is added. You can see in the left panel, a file is added called package.json. package JSON. This is very important for a web developer to understand what is this package JSON. Actually, so what happens when I run this npm init? When you run npm init, so what happens here is, see, when you run in npm init, it will ask you to walk through. So it will ask you to walk through the following questions. It will ask you to walk through the following questions. So following questions, and those questions I will give in the list. It will walk through the following questions. So which will create a file called package.json, which will create a file called package.json. What is this package JSON? I will tell you. What is this package JSON? I will tell you. We will see that. Now, what are the questions it asked? Let me give you the screenshot here. That means it asked us few questions when we run the command. So I will just give you the screenshot. And so I will upload this note into that online repository. You can see. Yeah. It is asking through these questions. This is the set of questions it asked us, and we answered it. So these are the options. This will generate the package JSON file. These are all the options configured. And I given the name, the version, the description, and everything, and it will generate package JSON file. Now, the question here is, so what is the purpose of package.json file? What is the purpose of package.json file? Actually, package.json contains metadata. That means it contains information about your project. Information about your project. So which includes the project name, which includes the description, which includes the keywords, which includes license, which includes author, other details, all these details. Not only that, later you will get some more like dependencies. You will get the dependencies, and later some more details will come into it. I will show you them. These are all defined inside package.json. That means generally, as a web developer, if anybody provided you a project, suppose you go online you search for some projects. That means online so many free projects will be available. Several people have developed some projects and uploaded online. You download that project. After downloading the project, first step is, if it is a zip file, we extract that project. After extracting, open that project related all the files in our Visual Studio Code. After opening that folder, first as a developer, we will look for this file, package.json, because the project that you have downloaded cannot be directly used in your computer, because that project may be using some libraries. The project may be using certain environment. So that environment you have to set up in your computer to run the project perfectly. That means every project developed by somebody else will not directly run immediately on your computer until or unless it have suitable environment. So what is the library required for that project? What are the libraries required for that project? So what libraries the project is using? What are its dependencies? So what is the means all the information about that project, from where we will get that information, where that information is present, from where we will get the information about the project. Before using the project, before working the project, we get all the information from which file? Package JSON file. Package JSON is created by using this npm init command. And you can observe, actually JSON means JavaScript object notation. JavaScript object notation. Actually, so JSON, it is a format. It is a format of presenting data. It is a format of presenting the data. You will later learn this format while learning JavaScript, JSON. It is a format of presenting data, or you call data or information. It is a format of presenting information. We call it as JSON, JavaScript object notation. And you see here in this package JSON file, you can close this now. You can close your terminal. Terminal can be closed here. So that means you can close your terminal here. This is the close. You can close the terminal. So I closed the terminal now. Now you see, click on this package JSON left side, and in your shopping application, you have a package JSON. So this package JSON file is generated for you. This package JSON is generated for you. So in the shopping application, that is generated for you. This is the JSON file. And you can see, you can open and see that file. You can observe that. You can open and see the file. You can see here. When I select this, that file will open here. And you can see all the information is kept inside it. All the information is kept inside it. And it contains the name, the version. Remember, you can make changes into the file here. You can make changes into the file here. Not only that, this file will be keep on changing according to the libraries, according to the configurations that you are doing in your project. This will be changing. Some more details will be added. Some more details will be modified. So all such things will happen here. All such things will happen here. So that means you can get the information about your project. The information about the project, what library required for the project. So what are the dependencies used for the project? Every information is present inside this package JSON file. And to create this package JSON file, you have to run the command in your terminal. In the terminal, we have to run the command. So what is the command to run in the terminal? So in the terminal, we need to run the command npm init. npm init. So npm init. And already we executed that. It will generate this package JSON file. Now your shopping application is ready as a web application, but still it doesn't have any repositories. That means it doesn't have any resources. It is currently empty. So nothing is present inside it. We don't have anything inside it. Only package JSON is present. Now what we will do is, after creating this package JSON, now the web application is initialized. Initialization completed. Now we will maintain a folder structure for the project. Remember, we are manually doing all this. We will maintain a project structure for that. So for that, what you can do is, you can add some folders. You can add some folders and maintain some folders for your project. Remember, whenever you are building a project, make sure that the files related to the project are correctly organized according to the behavior, according to the requirements and situations. So don't put all of them at one place. Organize them according to the behavior, according to the functionality. So for that, what we do is, first, we will maintain some folders in this project. So maintain the folders. How to maintain the folders in the project? Observe carefully here. First point, I hope everyone understood how to generate this package JSON. Is it clear to everyone? Is it clear to everyone how to generate the package JSON file? How the package JSON file comes, right? Yeah, good. So, and after that, second point is what package JSON contains. What package JSON contains? Tell me what package JSON contains. What package JSON contains? If anyone asks what package JSON contains, technical answer. So technically what you should answer. The best answer technically is to tell that it contains metadata. Understood? Right? The best technical answer is metadata. So metadata. If anybody asks what is metadata, then what do you say? If anyone asks what is metadata, then what do you say? So that means you should say that metadata contains information about application. Understood? Don't say data about data. Then immediately your interviewer will know that you are a very basic level learner. Because a basic learner, so generally in general computing technologies who learns C++, Java, these people, if you ask what is metadata, first answer they give data about data. That is a very silly, rubbish answer actually, right? So the answer should be what is metadata means it contains information about your application. Okay, that is the correct, perfect way to answer it. Information about your application. Can you tell me what kind of information it may contain? What kind of information it will contain? What kind of information it will contain? You have observed that. So what kind of information it will contain? It will contain information like name, description, author, version, license, dependencies. Understood? Good. Right. Right. So all these details are present inside this package JSON. Yeah, good. Next important is after configuring. So this package JSON, now we will maintain a folder structure. So that means after adding this, maintain folder structure. Structure. Maintain folder structure for your application. Folder structure for your application. As per the tradition, what is the folder structure we have to maintain? Observe carefully here. To maintain the folder structure, so see, you can observe at the top. In this, you can see we have generally the project related options. Observe carefully. Here you will find options. New folder, new file buttons are there. New file button, new folder button is there. Now what we need to do is, so you have to click on this new folder button. So technically we need to folder button. That means here we need to configure the folder button. So let's go into the new folder button, right? So click the new folder button. In the folder button, we need to maintain some folders. First important folder. So we need a folder called public. As per the project traditions, we will maintain the folders. Public. Actually, what is the purpose of public folder is, in the public folder, we have to create and maintain all the static files. All the static files are maintained in this public folder. What is a static file? What is a dynamic file? I will tell you. We will discuss about them. So first important, you see a public folder I created. Okay, I will explain those details now. We will explain the details and configure the details. So the one is public folder. Next, add another folder. Remember, while adding another folder, make sure that you are not selecting this public, because if you select public and add a folder, it will add a folder inside it. So click outside and click another folder, and that means you are adding one more folder, and this folder name we will give as SRC, source. SRC is the folder. Okay, that means these two are very important folders for us. What are the two folders? So that means add following folders, add following folders into project. What are the folders? One is public, another one is SRC. What is the purpose? I will tell you. Actually, remember here, two folders I added. The main intention is nothing but public folder. So public folder is used to maintain static resources of project. Static resources of project. Static resources of project means like HTML files, Later, I will tell you what is difference between static and dynamic. In the next level, we will discuss about that, like HTML files, so we have text documents, like images, HTML files, text documents, images, PDF documents, etc. All these kind of documents are maintained inside the public folder. That means you want HTML files, text documents, images, PDF documents, everything is maintained inside this public folder. Remember, static and dynamic in a separate concept I will explain. As of now, static files means they are directly served to the client. That means I will tell you later detailedly that point. Architecturally I will explain. See, suppose we have a project. So this is our server, and on this server now we have a project. That means we are creating a application. We have an application. Now in this we have a static files, and we have dynamic files. We have two things, static files and dynamic files. Now this is the user. Now user is using a browser. That means user is using a browser. So, and the browser, what happens now is when user makes a request from the browser, now these static files, remember, these static files are directly delivered to the browser. These static files are directly delivered to the browser. Browser will take care about processing it. It will take care about processing it and presenting. That means it is processing and presenting. It will take care about processing and presenting. So that means browser will take care about processing and presenting these static files. Later I will tell you detailed difference. Don't worry, because as of now, first you need to understand the basic point. Then we will go architecturally. Static files are directly delivered to the client, but dynamic files are not directly delivered. What will happen is when you make a request for dynamic file, what happens is this file will undergo several phases. First, in the server, it will load the file. After that, it will compile the file. After that, it will process the file. Remember, everything will happen on the server location. It will compile, it will process, and it will generate output. Generate output. It will generate output, and then it will send response. It will send to browser. That means everything happens here. It need to load the file, it need to compile the file, it has to process the file. Remember, if it requires compiling, it requires processing, it requires output generation, we call this mechanism as rendering. If it requires rendering, rendering means generating output and then send to the browser and display in the browser. That means a lot of activity need to be performed for these files before going as output. Static files are just delivered, and the dynamic files we have to undergo a lot of things. They need to be compiled, they need to be processed, they need to be rendered and presented in the browser. If lot of work has to be done on that, compiling, processing. Remember, compiling, processing is done means, so they are dynamic files. They are processed according to the request and generate output and send the output. So static files are kept inside this public folder, and SRC contains all dynamic files. That means SRC is the folder. SRC folder is used to maintain. So dynamic resources of project, like dynamic resources of project, like JavaScript files. So like JavaScript files. Like we have CSS files. We have CSS pre-compilers like Sass. So like less. All these are dynamic files. Later you will learn what is Sass, what is less, and all these. These are dynamic files. So all these dynamic files are kept inside this SRC folder. JavaScript files, so CSS files, and the Sass less files, all such things are kept inside this. Now, so many other points are there to understand about static and dynamic, I will tell you. That is related to web page, static pages, dynamic pages. That is a different point. Here, static resources and dynamic resources. All the static resources are kept inside this public folder, and the dynamic resources are kept inside this SRC folder. So now what happens is we are maintaining these two folders. These are the folders that we created by ourselves manually. We added those folders and configured so that we can manage all our files there. We can maintain and manage all our files in that location. So these two are primarily required. Later you will come across with other type of folders also. As of now, basically at the beginning, we need these two folders, public and SRC. I created those two folders here. So let me give you a screenshot for that. So what folders we created, and make sure that you created in this hierarchy. That is the two folders we created. So these are the folders we created for our project. So one is public and SRC. Now let's maintain some resources here. That means we will maintain some resources in the public folder. Actually, still website is not ready. Application is not ready. We don't have any resources. Remember, folders are there, but folders are empty. Folders are present, but folders are empty. There is nothing inside the folder. We will maintain some files inside the folder. You can maintain subfolders. See, select the public folder. In the public folder, I will maintain another folder. New folder. And I will give the name as some images. That means we can keep all our images in this location. Or people have a habit of giving the name as assets. Assets is the name professionally used to maintain all the images and keep all the images there. So images and text documents and everything. If you want more classification, then I will give separate images folder. And in the public folder, select again the public folder, create another folder, docs, something like this. That means in the public folder, again, we have two child folders, that is docs and images, text documents, PDF documents, MP3 files, MP4 files, audio, video files, everything we will keep inside this docs location. And images we will keep in this images location. This is the folder structure we created. That means we can create more subfolders to maintain and configure our repository correctly, our file system correctly. This is very important to organize all your content in a perfect way, Now you see here currently, so you see this is the project ready. That means only folders are present. In that I created some child folders also. Let me give you that also, right? In the public, I created the child folders. So these are the folders I created inside. That's fine. So this, now in this folder, we will maintain some images. Now in this, we will maintain some images. That means we will put some photos inside it. So let's see, right click on the images folder and open in Explorer, open in reveal in File Explorer. That means it will open in the File Explorer like this. Now open that folder and keep some pictures here. That means in your computer, so if you have any photo, so go there and copy any image. Suppose in my computer, I have some photo shirt. I will copy that shirt photo and paste inside this, that is shirt, and it is a JPG file. Some image I kept in the public images, some image is kept there. Similarly, in docs folder, suppose in my computer, I have some documents. Suppose there is a PDF document, CSS demo. I will keep that PDF document inside it. PDF document or text document, anything you keep there. So here one file I kept here. That means now our project, you can close this and you see docs is having CSS PDF and images is having shirt.jpg. Some repository is present. That means you have all the files kept correctly inside this location. Okay, everything is ready now. So everything is configured and everything is ready now. Now the point is, so you have resources. Now already yesterday I told you that can we access these resources directly? What do you say? Any client can access these resources directly? Can any client access these resources directly? Can any client access these resources directly? Yesterday I showed you a point, right? Yes, right. Yesterday we saw that already. Huh? Yesterday already we saw that anyone can access these resources directly, not by physical path, by using virtual path. Am I right? Yeah, we will not give any physical path. So by the virtual path, by the virtual path, he can access. But he must know the path correctly, right? That is what we saw yesterday, that suppose there is a website, some tutorial point. So www.tutorialspoint.com/html/html tutorial PDF. If I know the path correctly, I can open their resource directly without visiting their web page. Without visiting their website homepage, we can directly access the resource and we can read the resource directly. We can access the resource and we can read the resource directly. We can read the resource directly. That means, so directly that information is present. You can access that resource. But important is how client knows which path is present. Client doesn't know which path is present. So that is the reason we need to provide a page to the client so that he can access. That means in a website, we have some resources, but how client will access the resource? That means what we have to do is, for the client, we have to provide a user interface. We have to provide a user interface from where he can interact with the resources. And that user interface is called as web page. That user interface is called as web page. So can we have a website without web page? What do you say? Can we have a website without web page? Can we have a website without web page? Yesterday I showed you. Yesterday we saw that we can have a website without web page. We can put directly resources and we can access that. Yesterday already we saw that. I showed you clearly that without a web page, you can have a website. Directly we can access and we can use it. Already we saw that. Yesterday practically I showed you that. So then why you need a web page? What is the purpose of web page? So this is important. So what is web page? What is web page? Technically, why you need the web page? What is the web page? Actually, web page is a hypertext document. Is a hypertext document. What is meant by hypertext document? I will tell you now. I will explain. What is hypertext? I will tell you. Web page is a hypertext document. It provides an user interface. It provides an user interface, UI, for website. Provides an UI for website, so that users can interact with the resources in website. It provides a user interface for website, so that users can interact with the resources in the website. So you can say website, or you can say web application. So site or application, anything. That means, so it provides a UI for website or application. It is website or web application, so that user can interact with the resources in the website. So it is a hypertext document. Why it is called as a hypertext document? How to design the web page? What kind of pages will be there? We will see that. Why it is called hypertext document? That means immediately one more question will come. So what is hypertext document? So here a question comes, what is hypertext document? What is the meaning of hypertext document? Actually, the term hyper is a Greek term. Actually, it is a Greek term. The term hyper is a Greek term. So which means beyond. Which means beyond. Hyper means beyond. That means actually it is a document. That contains lot of information beyond what you see. That is what actually hypertext document means. Hyper is a general Greek term actually, which means beyond. I will tell you one simple thing so you can easily understand. Suppose I opened some amazon.in. It opened a document. In this document, it is showing some content here. Is this only the content this website is having? Is this only the content this website is having? What do you say? Is this only the content this website is having? Is this only the content this website is having? So no, it is having lot of content beyond this. Am I right? It has lot of content beyond this. It is having lot of content beyond this. How you can see the content beyond this? You can click on that particular topic I want electronics. It will get electronics and it will show you electronics. That means you have a lot of information which is beyond what you see. That is the reason this is called as a hypertext document. Web page is a hypertext document. Generally, different people have different things, means online. So many people have websites, blogs, tutorials. Only the point is whom we have to believe, whose words are correct, whose points are correct. One faculty will say like this, another faculty will say like that, one website say like this, another website say like that. That means whom you will follow. The point here is so simple. So actually, web developed by Tim Berners-Lee. That means he introduced the concept of web. The word web, we call him father of web. So we call him father of web. He introduced the concept of hypertext documents, HTML. He introduced HTML. So that means he designed hypertext documents. HTML is hypertext markup language. Before that, we have hypertext. Before that itself, we have. Actually, so the hypertext concept was designed. By CERN Laboratories, CERN, CERN Labs, Council for European Research and Nuclear. These people invented this hypertext concept. And Tim Berners-Lee made it more better with HTML. He made it more better with HTML. The concept of hypertext was designed by CERN Labs, Council for European Research and Nuclear, CERN Labs. These people designed this hypertext concept. Now, when you go online, you search for definitions. So different people have different answers. That means somebody says that tags are called markup. So tags are called markup. Element is called markup. So element is called markup. Angle brackets are called markup. So hypertext means this and that. Different answers you will get on internet from different websites. So, but I hope you never went to this website and saw what is hypertext. So I hope you never went to this website. You might have gone to W3 schools. W3 schools, but you have never gone to w3.org or what wg.org. Do you know what wg.org? Suppose you are learning HTML. You want to learn HTML. Majority of you people know this W3 schools. Am I right? What do you say? Majority of you people know W3 schools. But do you know what WG? What WG.org? You don't know what WG.org? What WG? No. But what you don't know is what WG.org. These people build HTML. HTML is maintained by those people. Understood? HTML is maintained by those people. HTML is built by those people. What WG? And you are going to website and watching YouTube videos and nonsense and so much thing you will do. So other than what WG? That means you are not learning from the people who built it. The people who built it will tell you correct, or W3 schools will tell you correct. What do you say? That means certain points are very important here. Remember, many times when we are learning web technologies every day, so we will get people coming and asking like, sir, in that website I have seen somebody said like this, some other faculty said like this, some this person said like this, some YouTube channel said like this. Those are all nonsense. We don't even consider them. We don't care. Why? Because don't come with such type of point at all to any professional developers. Why? Because we don't care whoever, whatever, what they say. We will just care about what the people who built it say. What do you think? Other people are great than the people who built HTML? That means you said that my faculty is 20 years experience. He taught me HTML and whatever he says is correct. Huh? What do you say? That is rubbish, right? So that is rubbish. So that means we don't care. He have 20 years experience or 50 years experience. We don't care. Why? Because we care only for the people who built it. They are correct. We don't care anybody else. So that is the reason. The point is you need to go to the people who built it. So WG.org, these are the people that are maintaining HTML since 2004. And you don't know them and you know everybody else. That is very silly thing. That means many times people try to learn from various resources without knowing that the people who built, they will tell better than anybody else. And if you explore this, they will give you all information. These people are maintaining HTML. They are evolving HTML. They are building HTML. Then they know better than anybody else. So don't come with a point that this person said, that person said, my friend said, my relative said. We don't care about them, right? So this is all rubbish thing we hear regularly. That's the reason we don't care whatever they say. We will just care whether these people say that point or not. According to what WG, hypertext meaning is this. Understood? So we don't care about other definitions now. We don't care, we don't consider about other definitions because people who built HTML, people who are maintaining HTML, so what they say about hypertext is important for us. That is the reason we need to know this. So hypertext documents means a document which contains a lot of information beyond what you see. Beyond what you see. That is what the concept of hypertext document. So now how to build this hypertext document that we will see. Hypertext documents. Actually, we call them as web page. So web page is a hypertext documents. We have types of web pages. Web pages are classified into two types. We have static page and we have dynamic page. What is difference between static and dynamic page? I will tell you detailed description about them. In the next point, we will discuss about that. Initially, let's create first one page for us. You see here, our website is empty now. Our website is empty now. It's not having any content. Generally, every website will start with a page called index.html. Every website starts with a page called index.html. So what is HTML, how HTML works, we will see all that point. Generally, website starts with a page called index.html. It's mandatory that every website starts with index.html. So what we will do now, we will add a page inside the public folder, add a new file, select public folder, add a new file, and name the file as index.html. So that means we have a startup page also. Later, we are going to learn HTML. I will tell you static pages, dynamic pages, HTML and everything. And observe carefully. Inside this HTML page, I am just telling here, I am writing simple normal text. Welcome to web development. Just I written some normal text. I am not using any language, anything. So just I will present some plain text here. Just I am writing some plain text here. Okay. So index.html is considered as the startup page. And in this page, I have just written a sentence, welcome to web development. I am not writing any code also. You just do this. Now we have to start with this page. What you can do now, after adding this, right click in the page, right click in the page. So when I right click in the page, you can see when I right click in the page. So you can see when you right click, there is an option here, open with live server. Select open with live server. Select the option open with live server. So right click in the page and select the option open with live server. Remember, this live server will come only when you install the live server. Otherwise, this option will not be there. Many people will come with a complaint, sir, live server is not coming here. So it will come only when you install with extensions. Yesterday, I showed you how to install the extension. So once you install the extension, right click and open with live server. Automatically, it will start your project and it will show the page. That means you see it is starting with your page and it is displaying your project is running. I will explain all the part. What is this URL? So what is that address? What is the path? We will discuss that. But our page is ready. Our website is ready. We are starting with a page and it is running. Now, how to build? Remember, we are not learning any language also. There is no language here. So we built with some plain text and we are presenting it. So what is HTML, how it works? These are all the things we will discuss in the later stage. But so we need to first create a startup page. After creating these folders, what you do is, after creating these folders, now you need to just create an index page. Go to the project. In the public folder, add a new file called index.html. And in that, just put some welcome message. Right click and open with live server. Then it starts your page. Once the page is ready, that means your page is working. Now we can start building this page. For that, we need to learn the language. Before that, we need to understand what is a static page, what is a dynamic page, what is difference between static dynamic page. And we will start working with these pages and designing the pages. For that, we have to learn the language HTML now. So what is HTML, how it works, what is static, what is dynamic, these all things we will discuss now. That we will see in our next session. Tomorrow we will do that, okay? I hope you understood all the concepts today, whatever we discussed. And you can try the same in your practical also. And tomorrow we will first learn about difference between static and dynamic page. After that, we will start learning how to build the pages. We will learn about HTML, how it works and all these points. Practically, we will start designing the pages, okay? So this entire notes is present on GitHub. I hope you all people have GitHub link, right? So if you don't have the GitHub link, I will just post you the GitHub link. Yeah, this is the GitHub link. And here I will update everything there. Until our registered sessions start, the notes I will share here. Once the registered sessions start, so I will upload everything into a Google Classroom and we will share with that, okay? Now whatever I discussed today, I will upload that notes also here. You can get it from there, okay?